We're studying the Roman Empire. We want to look at how the Roman Empire started and grew. To understand that, we need to understand its geography. Where were they? Where was this all happening? We're going to look at some important places that you might not find on some modern maps. So let's go. First of all, we've got the Atlantic Ocean. Atlantic Ocean is all the way over here. This body of water, all the way out here, is the Atlantic Ocean. Next is the Black Sea. The Black Sea is this little sea right here. This is the Mediterranean Sea down here. Mediterranean Sea, this whole area here is the Mediterranean Sea. The Po River. Po River is the river up in the north part of the Italian peninsula. Po River is right there. Rubicon River is just below that. Important river where Caesar needed to cross. The Tiber River. Tiber River is where Roman civilization began, where right in the middle of the Italian peninsula you have the Tiber River. Next, let's look at some land regions. We have Britain. The island of Britain is this up here, one of the furthest extent reaches of where the Roman Empire developed. Next, we have Corsica. Corsica is this little island here, south of where we have France today. We have Gaul. Gaul was the region that we now know as France. This area up here, France and some of Germany, this is what they called Gaul. Macedonia. Macedonia is the north end of where we have the Greek peninsula. Macedonia was right there. Sardinia. Sardinia was this island below Corsica. Sicily was the island off the tip of the toe of the Italian peninsula. And Spain was the region at what we call the Iberian Peninsula. Right here at the end of Europe, this region was called Spain. Today it is the country of Spain. Now let's talk about some cities. Alexandria. Alexandria was a major city in Egypt. We're going to drag that right down here. As we get to the finer details of this, we're looking at cities, and yes, these cities had specific spots, but I just care that you have the region, the general region. You know that Alexandria is not in Gaul. You know that Alexandria is down here. That's important. Next is Antioch. Antioch is in the northeast portion of the Mediterranean, right here. Athens was in Greece. Byzantium is going to refer to right here on the edge of where Turkey is today. Carthage was right here in North Africa. While we do Carthage, I'm also going to talk about Zama. Zama was a famous battle between Carthage, the Carthaginians, and the Romans. The Carthaginians wanted to have colonies all around the Mediterranean, and while the Romans were expanding, the Carthaginians were expanding also. So there was some competition there. One of those expansions was when the Carthaginians established New Carthage in the Iberian Peninsula, over where Spain is. Rome was right in the middle of the Italian peninsula, and Damascus was right here on the east coast of the Mediterranean. Now there's two mountain ranges you need to keep in mind. There are two that affected the Romans significantly. The first was the mountain range of the Apennines. The Apennines ran up and down the center of the Italian peninsula. The other ones were the Alps, which were not on the Italian peninsula but up into Europe. But anybody who wanted to conquer or come into Italy had to go over these massive mountains. Talking about the growth of the Roman Empire. Starting out in 500 BCE, they weren't an empire. They were just Romans living along the Tiber River in the middle of the Italian peninsula, and they had that territory, 500 BCE. In the middle of the Italian peninsula, along the Tiber River, that's all that they had. 246 BCE, they had conquered all of the Italian peninsula. That was their territory. It's not exactly an empire, but it is growing. And they are growing, and they are having competition with the Carthaginians that are down here that are also growing and expanding their influence around the Mediterranean, including some of these little islands. By 146 BCE, they had expanded. They had taken over territories that the Carthaginians got. They got Sardinia, they got Corsica, they got Sicily. The Carthaginians had taken over parts here, but the Romans came back and fought them and battled them and won and took over that territory from the Carthaginians, all the way out to there. Then by 44 BCE, the extent of the Roman Empire, they had conquered much more of this area in Spain. They had conquered Gaul. They had even conquered a little bit up into Britain. They had conquered over here into Byzantium. In fact, down the east coast, Antioch and Damascus, they were able to conquer that too. The one area that they hadn't conquered was this area here around Egypt, the big city of Alexandria. They didn't get that one.